yeah. So since he's not here, are you annoyed or you upset or?
No, I'm used to his behavior at this point. You know, I'm a problem for people in the ring.
Oh wow, delicious. You know, yeah. So since he's not here, are you annoyed or you upset or?
No,
Yeah. So since he's not here, are you annoyed or you upset or?
no, I'm used to his behavior at this point. You know, he's unprofessional. He's a flake. He's not a serious businessman. He's not a serious fighter, and I'm gonna prove that. That's why this fight's called The Truth, because the truth's gonna come out. And he's gonna have to pay for all the times he pulled out, all the business people he screwed over. It's disrespectful. There's some of the biggest names in boxing, some of the biggest promoters in the world, some of the most influential people in the world, one of the greatest countries in the world, and he doesn't want to show up because a private matter. Cool. Yeah, we all have private matters. When you sign up to do something and you make a commitment, that's what it should be about. And it just shows me that he's scared because he said he didn't need to train for this fight. Oh, I could fight Jake Paul and I don't even have to train. But meanwhile, his excuse first was that he had to train extra for this fight, and now apparently it's a private matter. So it's typical Fury stuff. I love Tyson, but I'm saying the dad and Tommy, it's typical from that.
F Tyson, for what it's worth.
Okay.
Oops.
I hope he's listening to that. I'll be excited to watch this fight. So, how many rounds do you think the fight will go on?
3 to 4 rounds.
You, what's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. Big shout out to my doggy, Jaden Anthony, for coming through and boosting up the coin. So we just heard there from my doggy to JP. This for me is a mad one, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm genuinely, deeply disappointed, but you know what? I'm not even into this fight anymore, in that sense, because when it first got announced a few weeks ago, I was genuinely gassed. I thought, it's only a month out. That means, bear in mind people, yeah, Tommy Fury, he agreed to a month out. I actually would have backed him. If Timmy Fury said, listen people, I'm going to fight Jake Paul, but I need time to train. Let's do it after Ramadan, whenever. I haven't got a problem with that. But he knows his team, yeah? He agreed to Feb 26th. If you haven't been training, if you need more time to train, do it after Ramadan. What you don't do is, you don't sign something like you've been signing. This ain't the first time, people. This guy has been signing contracts and then flopping on them. Oh, my rib. Oh, this. Oh, that. So I'm not even sure, like, again, I'm fully happy for, if Timmy needs 3 months, yeah, I'd have backed that. If Timmy came out and said, listen, Jake Paul only is refusing to fight me, he only wants to fight me on 4 weeks' notice, I'd actually say, listen, what's the problem with waiting another 3 months for this fight? But he didn't do that. We didn't hear no mentions of, I'd like a full camp for this. I've got no problem with this. I've got no problem with him wanting a full camp. But the thing is, actually thinking about it, we've known Jake Paul's had this Timmy fight on there. When did Jake Paul fight? Jake Paul fought, like, when was it? I'm not sure when it was. It was months ago, wasn't it? Anyway, whenever it was, I don't think it was last year, but whenever it was, that shows you how long Jake Paul has been negotiating his Timmy fight. I think it happened in October or something. Well, either way, December was it? I'm not sure when it was. Whenever it was. Was it January? I don't care when it was. Whenever it was. Whenever the JP smoked on the Anderson Silver pack, Alderson Silver pack, rolled it up nicely and smoked on it, puffed on it. Timmy, time or no time, yeah, all he seemed to focus on, the only thing we heard about, yeah, none of us heard that, he'd like a full camp. All we heard was, the money. I'll fight Jake Paul for free, but he only wants to pay me 1.5 million, and he paid another guy one. This is waffling. We didn't hear nothing about, Jake Paul's making me fight on 2 weeks' notice. And by the way, and that's the thing about time, both fighters had the same conditions. It's not like Jake Paul has more time, and if you're not prepared, you're not prepared. But again, what's that got to do with anyone else? No one else asked you to sign the contract. And you'd think, wait a minute, I've pulled out 2 times before. Let me make sure whatever I agree to this time, I can fulfill. And yet here we are. I couldn't believe it as well. On the day it was announced, Jake Paul flew in to the UK I did a video on my other channel. Go and check it out. I do a channel covering UFC and more YouTube boxing events. That channel's called YB The Trap God. Yeah, go and follow that channel for more on this subject. But like I said, I did a video the other day. Jake Paul flew into the UK on probably a day's notice when this fight got signed and announced. Jake Paul's sitting there waiting to do a face-to-face. You know how they do the gloves are off? Face-to-face, yeah? Great for the fans. Great promotion for the fight. Jake Paul's sitting there and Timmy, he refusing to do it. It's like, what the fuck? How can Jake Paul fly in and you're the one missing in the UK? And now, Jake Paul's in Saudi, or wherever it is, I'm not sure wherever it is, and Timmy's not there. And Timmy says, oh, it's personal reasons. Well, a few days ago, Timmy said he needs more time to train. Now it's personal reasons. Either way you look at it, people, he's going to pull out. I'm sorry. That's why I've completely... A few weeks ago, I was emotionally locked into this fight. I had a proper hard-on for this fight. But now, I'm over it. It doesn't even feel like it's on. I think it's off. I think it's cancelled. Yeah? What's happened is, Timmy has realised... Let's not forget. Look at Dylan Dennis. Yeah? Dylan Dennis, he did all the talking, and then he pulled out and looked like a whole clown. Yeah? Timmy's realised, oh, let me do as little media as possible. That's why he wasn't at the face-to-face, the sit-down in the UK. I mean, again, someone explain that to me. How can Jake Paul be in the UK in the same building as Timmy, and Timmy isn't the one not at the table to do the face-to-face interview? And now he's doing the same thing again, this time in Saudi. Why would he be doing that? Especially given history. You'd think Timmy would be the one saying, listen people, I've messed up the bag so many times. Let me be there extra. Don't what if I lie? If I was managing Timmy, I'd say, listen Timmy, our public relations, our public image is down bad. We look like punks. Yeah? I'm going to make sure we're there first. You should be the one there saying, where's Jake Paul at? I'm here early. You know what I mean? Making up for all the other times you've fumbled it. Instead of being, you know what I mean? It's like, I can't get my head around it. The guy who's pulled out twice is the one who's missing again. Now, what I will say is, it's not Jake Paul's responsibility as such, but I do wonder, from Jake Paul's side, legally, what they're doing. I do have to say, it baffles me. How have you not? You know this guy's pulled out a whole bunch of times. Now, maybe Jake Paul's team have done something, but I'm wondering, why isn't this stuff in the contract? People criticise the UFC. The UFC, they make you do media and it's all contractual. Yeah, that's why. Because otherwise, you have clowns like this, who show no respect to the promotion, who think money grows on trees. How dare Timmy get paid 2.5 million and then not do no promotion? What does he think this is? So I do wonder from Jake Paul's team, why isn't this in the contract? It should be in the contract. You'll turn up on the fight night and all the obligations to face-to-face sit down in the UK. This thing, all of it should be in the contract. Every event you miss, we're taking $500,000 off. Or whatever. Instead, it seems, I might be wrong, I don't know, maybe Timmy Fury's paid the penalties, but it seems to me like Jake Paul's team have possibly made another blunder here, in my opinion. He should be, listen, if I was dealing with this guy for the third time, I'd have him so tied up, you wouldn't believe it. Because Jake Paul don't need this, in that sense. I'll be telling Timmy, listen Timmy, I gave you 2 contracts the first time, you flopped on them. If you want me to let's not forget, it costs money, people. It costs money to fly around the place and do these things. For the fight not to happen, who bears that cost? Who bears the pullout cost? It's not Timmy, and that's another thing I'd put in the contract. If you pull out, you're going to be liable for the cost. And if he doesn't want to sign that, I'd tell the public, listen, Timmy Fury refused to sign because he didn't want to pay the liability costs. Well, that makes you wonder in itself. Wait a minute. Why would Timmy, and if I was Jake Paul, I'd sign it. No problem. I'll pay the cost if I pull out. Because I know I'm not pulling out. Yeah? And I think that potentially, that clause could save us all the time and the effort. Because I guarantee you, Timmy, well, he wouldn't be able to sign it, would he? Because he'd know he's going to pull out. I don't know why. Maybe I haven't seen the contracts. Maybe I've got it all wrong. But I do wonder why it appears, from my point of view, that Jake Paul's team have once again made a contract with this guy, and it's just loosey-goosey. He's just doing exactly what he wants again. This weren't the first time. Remember last time? Oh, I can't come to the US all of a sudden. Even though he was there with his missus the month before. You know what I mean? The guy's messy. And we've known he's messy. So I do have to say, the JP's team should have been on this guy. There should be nowhere for him to weasel out. This for me is just not acceptable at all. This is supposed to be, a few weeks ago, I was gassed. And I was saying, this is the biggest fight of the year for me. And now it's like one man turning up. It's not the JP's problem, it's Timmy. But we know what Timmy like. But it's despicable. It really is. The whole thing's despicable. I don't know who Timmy thinks he is. And that's what, part of me, maybe that's what happened. Maybe Timmy's team refused to sign those parts of it. And Jake Paul's just so desperate to get his hands on the guy. He said, okay, whatever. If you don't want to, you know what I mean? If you don't want to sign the contract making you liable or enforcing you to come to the press events. But even that would make me question, wait a minute, why am I going to do a fight with a guy who doesn't want to sign and agree to do press? That's the standard for fights. No word of a lie, this fight only had 4 weeks anyway, which means you need intense media. And with all due respect, I'm tired of seeing, no one wants to see Jake Paul on his own. Even when you've got Jake Paul and Raheem, what's his name? Top Ramen Noodles. You had Jake Paul versus Top Ramen Noodles, you had Jake Paul versus Askren, you had Jake Paul versus whoever. That's what makes it exciting. No one needs another Jake Paul on his own interview. And not just Jake Paul, but anyone. I'm tired of seeing this. We want to see, that's what makes it interesting. What makes it interesting is the back and forth. I mean, I'm sure Jake Paul, he don't want to be sitting on his own. What the fuck? Why would he want to be sitting on his own for? Who want to do that? Who want to see that? No one wants to see that. It's completely embarrassing. Where's John Fury at? That's another thing as well. John Fury was out here the other day. Oh, Jake Paul. Oh, Jake Paul, are you getting it? Oh, don't run off, buddy. Oh, that's what he said. John Fury said, Jake Paul, you're getting it. Don't run off. Don't be scared. And let's not also forget, Team Fury. That's what I mean. Jake Paul. That's why I disagree with Jake Paul as well. Jake Paul said, "Oh, I love Tyson." Well, you love Tyson for what? What's Tyson done for you? Tyson should be out here. I mean, with all due respect to Tyson, when Tyson, I'm trying to think, for the most part at least, when Tyson signs to a fight, I mean, that's a standard. Doing the press is the bare bones standard. It's not like it's a whole bunch. Essentially, two things the fans want to see. The fans want to see one press conference, which we still haven't got. We want to see one press conference before the fight, not on the fight week. Before the fight, we want to see a press conference, and before the fight, we want to see a face-to-face. We've got neither. So like I said, Jake Paul saying he loves Tyson, but I'm thinking, why isn't Tyson stepping in and saying, listen man, you need to go there and handle your responsibilities. You've signed this fight, and you must do what you're contractually obliged to do. About personal reasons. What's that about? And even to be honest, the whole training narrative. Oh, you need to train well. What do you think Jake Paul's doing? You take your training team. You've got no excuses. John Fury is not banned from the US. You take your training team. You get over to Dubai and you do the camp there. I mean, it's like, we're only, 3 weeks away. And if I was Jake Paul, I'd be staying there now. I think the fight's like 2 weeks away. Yeah, this weekend, the fight will be 2 weeks away. So literally, you've got 18 days? That for me is the minimum you want to be out there anyway. 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, yeah, is the minimum I'd want to be out there. Get used to the heat. Get used to, people don't realise, when you're out in when you're in a cold country, yeah, like the UK, and then all of a sudden, you go to a hot country, that sun I don't know what it does to you. I don't know whether it does something to the melanin in your skin, but that production process, yeah? You know when your skin goes from white to darker? That process, it takes energy. I don't know, I can't explain the science, but trust me, when you go from a cold country to a sunny country, I don't know, it does something to you. It makes you tired, potentially, especially when you're an athlete and you're drained anyway, training. You should be out there anyway with 2-3 weeks to go. So why not use that as a play? You know what, people? We've got obligations. Let's just get our camp. It's not like you're not being paid. Let's get our camp and set up there. Be nice and comfortable. 2-3 weeks out. But what this tells me is, people, here, I mean, all the things I'm telling you, yeah, are rational. Jake Paul doing it. He'd meant to be the cornball as well. Wait a minute. Corny YouTuber, he doing it. But Mr. Hardbound Boxer, he not doing it. And Tyson Fury, where he at? Where's Tyson and John at? Where's their, we're honourable when we say our words are bond? Well, what happened to that? You agreed to do these things. Jake Paul there. But all in all, what this tells me is the fighting happening. Yeah? And I think Timmy clocked on, Dylan Dennis got dragged when he pulled out against KSI, yeah? And Tommy's realised, I want to have essentially, Timmy wants to leave as little footprint as possible out there. Almost so he can say, I told you so. I told you to fight. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really agree to do the fight. That's how it's looking to me. It's looking to me like he's trying to leave as little evidence that the fight was ever on. So it doesn't look as bad. It looks a lot worse, doesn't it? When you go to a press conference and you're giving it all this, and then you pull out, it looks whack. Everyone gets the memes and the rest of it. It looks to me like Timmy is purposefully ducking and dodging the media, so that when he flops, it's not going to have the same level of impact. And I think I already know the excuse he's going to use. Yeah, his son's just been born. The excuse coming is, you'll hear about it, I'm telling you now, sometime in the next 2 weeks, or on fight week. I mean, the key thing will be now, what I will say is, if we see Timmy in Saudi, then the fight might happen. But until we see Timmy in Saudi, forget about it. Because as far as I'm concerned, Timmy ain't going to Saudi ever. Yeah? There's going to be something that comes up. But to be honest, I mean, again, we're only 2 weeks away. You should be in Saudi anyway. What's he going to do? Rock up a week before? Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe Timmy's great plan is to rock up the week before. I think that's awful advice, but maybe that's what he's going to do. What we will know is, if Timmy isn't there the Sunday before the fight, he ain't coming. No one's going to do that. No one's going to fly in on the Monday and just be rocking up on the Saturday to fight. I don't believe that for a second. Not for this type of fight. And what's going to happen is, on Sunday night, or I'm not sure when, in all fairness, Timmy might even get to Saudi. And what will happen is, Molly May will put a post out, our son's been taken to hospital, and that's what the get out of jail free card will be, in my opinion. It's going to be something to do with a baby. Classic. I would have thought I would have knocked Jake Paul out, but this happened. I can't believe. That's what's coming next, 100%. And I wish I was wrong. I wish Timmy had been at these events, and I wish this weren't the case, but unfortunately, it is what it is. The fighting can happen, people. Forget about it. It's off. It's going to be Jake Paul versus Mike Perry. Which, to be honest, it's not a bad fight, but it's not the one we wanted. And I really can't believe we're going 3 for 3. I really can't. And I hope by some miracle I'm wrong. You know what I mean? But if a guy can't turn up, wait a minute. A man can't turn up to the media, but you want me to believe he's going to turn up to the fight. I've never seen that before. I just haven't. People usually do it the other way. Do the media, but I mean, if you can't commit to do the media, how much are you really behind this fight? Innit? How much do you really believe in this fight? Let's do a bit of a thought experiment here, yeah? Put yourself in his shoes, people. If you knew you weren't going to do the fight, would you be more or less likely to turn up to the press events? I know I'm not turning up on fight night. Yeah, let me go to the press events. No, of course you're not. You're going to think, that's a bit awkward. It's a bit awkward knowing I ain't going to fight. Let me just lay low and make excuses. Especially when, as I mentioned earlier, there's already a huge cloud of suspicion around him, isn't it? It's not like where YB is the first time. He's already pulled out 2 times already. You'd think he'd be going out of his way to show the opposite, wouldn't you? You know what, people? I've flopped this fight twice already. Let me be the guy who's clear I'm up for this now. 3 times in a row. Instead, he's doing this. I can't deal with it, people. I can't deal with it. I really can't. Despicable. All we can hope for at this point is that, yeah, he didn't do the media, but he turns up to the fight. Really, that's all that matters. But again, I am disappointed. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was looking forward to that sit down face to face. And I guess the problem is, you see, if this was Sky, if this was a UK broadcaster like DAZN, they would have that in the contract. But I think the problem is, because the Saudis are backing it, the Saudis aren't really bothered about making money, from what I understand. But then again, I think Top Rank and ESPN have the rights in the US. So someone in the US is making money, so I'm confused why the networks haven't stepped in and said, listen, Timmy, we don't care what you're doing. We need this for our promotion to sell pay-per-views. You better be there. I'm not sure why that hasn't happened. I don't know. Maybe their plan is, well, we would have liked to have some media before the fight, but we'll get the media in fight week. Maybe that's their plan, but I don't know. Time will tell anyway. If I was to bet right now, Timmy Fury's going to pull out. The fight's not happening, people. Get out of your mind. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell 100%.